Lausanne, Switzerland, Honorary Editor-in-Chief, International Journal of Human Movement and Sports Sciences, extraordinary research scientist at Northwest in South Africa, and he has done 2 years diploma in sports nutrition from International Olympic Committee from Switzerland, 3 certificate courses in energy balance in sports, protein for weight loss, and plant-based proteins for sports. And he has 26 years of teaching experience and research experience. So far, he has examined and evaluated 155 PhD theses as a foreign examiner. Rich experience of reviewing 223 research papers for international journals, author of 3 books in physical education. He has received many international awards and recognition from various organizations. Over to you, sir, Dr. Rakesh Tomar. One second, sir. 1 second.
Okay, sure. Please let me know when I have to start.
Okay, sir.
Sure.
Okay, sir. We can start the session, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. N.C. Jesus Rajkumar. I hope this is your name, because that's what I... Okay, thank you so much. So, it's my pleasure, and I hope this session will be fruitful and beneficial to all the participants who are here with me on board. And just give me a moment. Let me first share my screen. I'll share the entire screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my slides? Is it okay? My slides and my voice all clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So I will be talking on scientific publishing in higher education. We all are here, like, in this conference, we are involved in research, probably, because when you attend a conference, you all are involved in some sort of scientific research. In any university, for any teacher, any professor, any rank you are, the research is, indispensable, right? So research is something very important. In research also, it's a publishing, a scientific publishing, which is considered, as rated very high, and wherever you go, in your resume, your publications reflects your journey in your research career. So here I will be talking today in detail about how you can write your manuscript. In general, first part I will just give an overview about that. Then how can you prepare your manuscript for the publication? What is a manuscript and how you go about it? Then I will give some useful tips about publication. And there are some additional information, especially about many research platforms, different research IDs, where you should be nowadays, like you should know what is your ORCID ID, you should know what is your researcher ID, Web of Science ID, Scopus ID, Google Scholar citations, all those things. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about how you can keep yourself away from the predatory, publishers or publications. Nowadays, in the name of Scopus or Web of Science, you'll find a lot of, emails you may be getting, and these are like clone journals, basically. So I'll give information from where you can check if a particular journal, is a clone journal or is it a predatory journal, and also the predatory conferences. Many times you might be getting an email from somewhere, even from USA, okay, you are invited as an invited speaker for so and so. And when you go to those conferences, you see there are only 4 or 5 people who are attending the conference. So like these are like predatory conferences. So I'll give you information about those conferences also, and where you can cross-check, authenticity of such conferences. And then in the end, we'll talk about the publications like Web of Science journals and Scopus journals, where you can publish. I have a very, large experience, or you can say, in publication, and I'm also editor-in-chief of International Journal of Human Movement and Sports Science, which is a Scopus journal, okay? And I have reviewed more than 250 research papers from Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 rank, even very highly rated, journals, some of them. So I have almost like seen large number of manuscripts. I reviewed them, and so I can give you like insights, why and how your publications are rejected, and what you can do, when you send any paper for publication, so that your manuscripts, can go through that, peer review process, and it is accepted. So we talk about all those things, in detail. So first of all, this is a slide which I want for every one of you to, see, and this is very important. This is a very old saying, that in academic, field, either you publish or you perish. So if you are in academic field, you are in a education system, you are in higher education. If you don't publish, you will perish. So publication is very important. So you have done some research, but if that research is in the drawer of your table, that research has no meaning, no value. So publication is important. So in higher education, especially after you finish your PhD, research is important, and also the funded research projects. So you have to it's not that individual research, many times does not matter, because of course you cannot do any research individually. There has to be always a team, right? So this is always important. And you should always, try to get as many, funded research projects as much as possible through various sources, various agencies, your universities, your departments, through UGC, and many other sources who publish, who fund your research projects. So that, is very important in higher education. And that's called your resume. Because, after PhD, once you do your PhD, everybody has the same qualification. So you all stand at the same level. So how you stand out from others, is through research, through projects, through publications. That makes a difference. So research has almost 50% weightage, in your educational career. So once you are PhD in higher education, research is indispensable, and that's what people want to see. When you apply anywhere, in good education institution, how many papers you have published post your PhD. So in research, again, you may be having 100 research papers published under your name, but maybe sometimes, it does not matter. If somebody is having just one paper published in a Q1 journal, that one paper in Q1 journal, it supersedes all those 100 publications which are in some obscure journals or publications. So in research, it's quality that precedes quantity. So how many papers you have published, that does not matter at all, believe me. Even if you have one good paper in a Q1 journal, it can make your career. You can be known around the world with just one paper. And how do you know your paper is good? It again depends upon how many citations you have from your papers. So publication is just the first step. You will publish a paper. It's okay, you have published a paper in a Scopus journal or Web of Science, but is that paper cited enough? So that again is important. So citations, again we'll talk about citations, in coming slides. So why do we publish? The real reason is, of course, the exchange of ideas and more rapid scientific progress. That's what you get when you publish. And of course, it has been said that all scientists are authors. So the research, doing a research or doing an experiment, data collection, that's a one step, that's a one thing. But then writing your paper or writing the report for your projects, for your research, that's something else. So that's why all scientists are authors. So sometimes you have done a very good research, you have a very good data, but you don't know how to write it. And many times, even if even if your data is not very good, but if you write it properly and you present it properly, you get publications. And sometimes, even if you have very good research, but you don't present it, in a way it has to be presented, you lose, your chance on publications. So all scientists has to be authors. So writing is, a very important, in any research. So why do we publish? Again, there are reasons. Like there are those earlier are, the theoretical reasons. The practical reasons are because your research has been funded by some, agencies. So you have to, publish your research, because they want, And I know I have experience because of I have almost like 14 research projects till now. I have completed successfully, and recently I have collaborated in Korea with one of the company, for variable, gate analysis sensors. And I know when I was dealing with them for last 1 year, there's so much behind me. And yes, we want publication, we want quick publications, and we want publication, in a Web of Science or Scopus journals. So because when they fund you, when they give you the money to do some research, they want publications, they want citations. So you have to publish. And then of course there are researchers, there are journal publications, there are grant writing. So all these reasons are reasons why do we publish. Then of course what you see here on your screen, there is a research group. Let me just use my pointer. And the research group usually, as I said, you cannot do a research by yourself alone. So when you do a research, you do a project, so there is a team for that. So the team is usually led by a principal investigator who is generally a professor rank. He can be professor, associate professor, assistant professor, any rank. That does not matter. Then there could be some postdocs under him in that research team. Then there can be a PhD student. And not necessarily that always you should have a postdocs in PhD. You can have the co-investigators, which can be like some other professors. You can have consultants, from abroad. Like usually when I have done my projects, I have done with the co-investigators, from some other departments, and sometimes, I have taken like as a consultant, from, any other, reputed university around the world. That also makes, your research more countable, and it will help, in publication of your papers. So again, when we are publishing, the important thing is, that to measure the quality of your research. So the quality of research is measured, or the publication is measured by the impact factor, right? So the impact factor in which the journal where you are publishing, what is the impact factor of that journal? That is again important. And this is just I have shown you. This is the old. You can replace these years. By the current year, by 2024, you can put here, and then accordingly you can replace 2023 plus 2022, and then 2023 plus 2022 you can divide here. So this is how you calculate, the impact factor, for any journal. But the question here is, of course, the impact factor is important, but you have to be, understand that the subjects, the popularity of a science or a topic can define the impact factor. So, and the amount of scientists in those disciplines who write and publish can also impact the impact factors. So, how many people are writing, how many are publishing, that increases the impact factor. And sometimes in some subjects, the impact factor is very high, but in many other journals, it is not very high. Like, for example, the biomedical journals usually have a much higher impact factor than engineering journals. So the science, but it does not mean that the other journals are not good enough. Because science in both of these is good, but the nature of the science dictates a different rate of publication. So impact factor is good, but it's a measure of quality, but it's not everything. So you can still it depends upon where you are publishing. And as you can see here, but this number is quite large. ISI impact. ISI is formerly known as, it's a former name for the Web of. We use Web of Science, not ISI, but still many people are using ISI, so I'm just using for you to better understand. Okay. So, what is like, when you are just sending a paper for a publication, this is what happened. The author is send the paper to the editor, and that's for like as a editor-in-chief of another journal. Many times the manuscripts they come to me, and believe me, the good journals they do care about the quality of your writing. And of course, we should not reject anyone, but I know many of the, every week I reject at least 2 or 3 papers just at my level. We don't even send them to the peer review. Either they are not within the scope of the journal or the writing is very poor. All those things happen. So further manuscripts come to the editor and then editor send them to the reviewers and then again it comes back to the editor and then it is, communicated to the authors for publication if everything goes fine. So what's the publishing timeline? Sometimes I hear from many of my colleagues also and many students they write to me, oh, I want to publish a paper in 1 month. Come on, how can you get a publication in 1 month? There is no journal in the world who can get you publication within 1 or 2 months. If they are doing, then again they are not a good journal, and it does not make any sense in publishing such journals. So there is a timeline, which can range from 3 to 12 months, and in some cases it can.
Mute பண்ணிட்டு யூஸ் பண்ண வார்த்தை மியூட்ல போட்டு
The editor see there is something in your paper, then it will be sent to the peer review, and that's where is important. That's where I always ask all the students to send me any such inquiry. I said you should not worry about sending the papers to the high quality journals. In case, because of course the rejection rate is very high, it is almost close to 85 to 90%. But in case your journal is sent for the peer review, it means you have one half of the process. So because peer review means now 2 or 3 reviewers will read your manuscripts and they will give a qualitative comment on your manuscripts. Even if your manuscripts are rejected by the peer reviewer, you can improve your manuscripts with the comments given by the reviewer, and then you can send to some other journal. So it is always, a beneficial process. Then the reviewers, they evaluate your manuscripts, they can accept, they can reject, or can ask you to revise. Okay, and then the manuscript is again, if requires revision, it is sent to you for revision, and then it will go for publication. So all this process can take around 3 to 12 months. But remember here, as I said, only 1.5% of papers are accepted without revision. In my entire career of reviewing for so many journals, I reviewed more than 77 journals. I have reviewed papers, as I said, more than 250 papers I reviewed. There's not a single paper which I have sent, okay, accepted as it is. But I have seen as an editor-in-chief, when there is some controversial manuscripts are there, like one reviewer accept, one reviewer reject, then those manuscripts comes to me for the final decisions. And sometimes I see some reviewers, they just accept the manuscript as it is. And we usually, ask like, divide, or, reject those reviewers for future publications, usually if the paper is not well enough. So some reviewers may do that, but believe me, all the papers has to do some revisions, because the reviewers have to give a comment. Even if they say accepted without revision, there has to be a proper justification for that. So rejection and revision are integral to peer review process. So you should not, get demotivated or discouraged if your paper is rejected, or if the reviewer has put so many red dots in your paper. No problem. Don't worry about that, because it is always beneficial for you. Even like all my projects which I have done, all the projects usually go for the 4 international reviewers, and when those reviewers comments come to me, I sit back and say, come on, it's all red from top to the bottom. And that's how it is. That's how it helps you to prepare future projects. Okay. So second reviews are not uncommon. Sometimes, even the editors, they ask for the, second opinion or second reviews. And you have to understand, as I said, that peer review is a positive process. Now, the second part is preparation for the publication. How you prepare for the publication. So So there is like first of all there is an idea which comes to your mind. Okay, I want to do research in this. So normally what happens, we choose journal later on, but ideally what should happen is first you should have an idea and then you choose a selected. Okay, this is a journal where I want to publish. My paper. Like for example, if you're doing a research on strength and conditioning, then the first thing comes in your mind is, okay, I want to publish in Journal of Strength and Conditioning, which is a very highly reputed journal, right? Then you read the previous issues. So I don't know how many of you read the previous issues of the journals. And sometimes I am so surprised to see many PhD scholars who write to me, Doctor, I want to publish this paper, and how to publish, how to process, how to go. I'm surprised, when you're doing a PhD, you should be knowing all those things. That's what you do the PhD, right? So you are supposed to read the previous issues of that journal. So why you want to read? Then you will understand what are the formats and what are the topics, which are being accepted in the paper. And that's how you build your own writing. Okay. So once you read the previous issues, then what you should do is you should write your first draft. So there's so many draft. Of course, drafting is, that leads to the refinement, right? And this is something again very important. Once you write your draft, you send your paper to some of your critique friends, means who will criticize your research, for example. If send to me, for example, who's your friend and who is good to you, he will say, okay, he may not read and he will say, okay, this is good. But if you send a draft to a critic friend, he will find a lot of, mistakes, a lot of errors, and he will give some suggestions. And then, because it's in your hand, you want to accept or reject, those suggestions. But it's always good to send your paper to your critic friend and then refine your draft. Then checklist is important, checklist for the journals, do a proofreading, and then submit for the publication. This is like the process you should follow when you send any paper for publication. So for that, what you have to do is, these are the 6 steps you should read. Reading is very important. What are the hot topics, in the area of your research? What is your experimental design? What do the journal editors want? So you have to again look at, as I said, every week I reject at least, every day I receive 1 or 2 papers, as like whether these papers are within the scope of my journal or not. But believe me, at least 2 or 3 papers I usually reject every week because they are not suitable to my journal. Because if we accept those papers, and as an editor-in-chief, what I want like when a publication comes to my journal and we publish it, we want citations. If your paper is not cited, it's not beneficial to my journal, right? So, and for that, we will look, okay, your research is, is novel, or is it a repeated topic? So all those things we look into it. Then you select an appropriate journal, and then you have to see if there are any ethical issues, which is again very important. So reading, the first part is reading, and so reading is very important to know the background material. You should read broadly, determine the key papers in your field. If you are doing a research in certain areas, see what are the papers published in those fields, read those papers. What is the current state of understanding in the area of your research? And then you have to identify the gaps in the knowledge. So this is very important. I don't know, many of us, here in India, we are not, identifying the gaps in the knowledge. We are just doing repetition. What I have seen many times, either we just change the sample, we change the gender, or we change some variables, and then we present the research as a different one. No, that's not the correct way. Or we change the geographical area or geographical location, to change the state. So that's not the correct. So it is that's what again, many times when we reject paper, this is the reason which I normally give. There is no gap, there is no novelty in the research. What is that point? Okay, this is missing in the previous research. What you are doing. So that's what you have to, and that you can find out through a lot of reading previous issues. So reading helps you in your writing, because when you read, both sides of your brain as essential, they work in harmony. So reading, is reading and writing are connected. So you develop logic, your creativity, so and this is how that's why reading is very important. So it provides you the ideas for your next manuscript. and as I said, reading and writing are linked. So read as often as possible, discuss with your colleagues, and this will help you in assisting with your journal selection. Then again, the hot topics. How do you know which are the hot topics? So you see, just publishing by, as I said, like some of the very common research topics what I have seen, like even I have evaluated also more than 150 PhD thesis. So I have seen this 150 doctoral, researches. So believe me, almost 90% of theses are just like effect of so and so variables on so and so sports performance, or like that among so and so players, like kabaddi players, hockey players, gender change, like this, almost same. There's nothing new. So is this the hot research? Is this the hot topic happening in your field? Because especially when you do the PhD means that the standalone research. So you spend 4 or 5 years for the research. So how do you know what are the hot topics in your field? So you should look for the clues. And you get the clues from where? You get it from the controversies. Like for example, if I talk in the field of sports nutrition, what's the controversy nowadays? It's about nitrate. That's the beetroot juice. The controversy is on the the cramps. How does the cramps happen? Is it just because of the dehydration or something else? And the controversy is nowadays also on the vitamin D. So whether the vitamin D improves or affects your performance. So you have to see what are the controversies. What are the unexplained findings in the area of
Recording in progress.
Is there any research, any findings which is not being explained properly? You should read the editorials. They are very important. And if, for example, if you're looking for a British Journal of Sports Medicine, that is the top journal in sports science, #1 rank. So you should read the editorials in that journal, read the commentaries, letter to the editors. So this is how you develop your manuscript, and you will understand, what are the controversies, what are the hot topics, and then you choose your research, right? Of course, but it needs a lot of effort and to do that. Then literature searches. You can search literature. Like for example, you can search in PubMed, Google Scholar, Science Direct, and there are so many more, Embase, and many more search engines are there. Talk to the scientists. Local society meetings are important. The conferences, the national conferences like you are here in, for example, in the conferences always, you will find something new. And international congresses. Then expand your reading by doing the similar and related fields. And this is how you can find what are the things which you should be looking for. So then it's important to experimental design again from the benefit, like from the experience of my being a reviewer and heading a journal. That's what we look at in any manuscript, and this is one of the reasons for rejection of the manuscripts. The experimental design or the methodology. If your methodology is not right, straight away we reject. So your method should be such that a person who is reading your manuscript, he can replicate your experiment or your research. If I read your paper, if I read your article and I cannot replicate it, it means my methodology is weak, and that's what we want. So get it right. It should be critical. What is your hypothesis or research question? Objectives of your study. What methods are appropriate? Do you have the relevant resources to conduct your study? And how you control your research. Is your sample size large enough? Again, many times we reject. Of course, it's not always the case. It depends upon the research also. Which statistical tests you have employed? And if in case you have a doubt, maybe you know something, but if you have a doubt, you should talk to a statistician. Okay? Does your study comply with ethical requirements? Especially with the Helsinki, if you're doing an experimental research where the humans are involved, is it in line with the Helsinki Declaration? That statement you always have to write in your research. And many times when you don't write that statement in the research, you ask for the revisions and review for such manuscripts. Now the journal editors, what do they expect? They expect a good quality science. They expect original research. Okay. They want active research area where you can get many citations. That's what, as I said, that we want citations as an editor-in-chief. So, and it should be clear and concise writing. There should not be any ambiguity in your writing. It should be very clear to the readers. Then comes the journal selection. So now you have to choose. How do you choose your, journals? Like I have given here. So you have to see what are the top journals, and I will take you to the site of the journal citations later on to see, to show you, what are the top, rated journals, in sports science nowadays. So in journal selection, what are the factors which you should keep in mind? That it should be appropriate for your message, first of all. And that's what, many times manuscripts are rejected. Okay, it is not suitable for that journal, and it's not in line with your research, for example. What are the aims and scope of the journal? And then again, the publishing frequency, it is again, you have to keep in mind. Any journal which publish just, is being published only once in a year, it means there is very less chance for your manuscript to be published. So if a journal is having a monthly frequency, it means there is more chances for you to get your manuscript accepted. So that is also important. Then subscriber, the impact factors, as I said, the cost. Of course, needless to say, if you want to publish in a Q1 or Q2 rank journals, you have to spend almost $3,000 from your pocket, which you cannot. So it has to come from your fundings, to the project. So cost is important when you are publishing. But most of the Scopus or Web of Science journals, no journal, start less than $300 to $400. It's usually costly. So you have to the cost also when you're choosing a journal, and the target audience and the publication types. And then publication ethics is again very important. So, and this I have seen, with some scholars. So what you should not do a multiple submissions. Means if you send your a paper to the BJSM, don't send your paper in the same time, the same paper to ACSM journal, for example. So you should not send one manuscript to the two, journals at the same time. If it is found, because it can be easily found through search engine that you have published manuscripts in two places, there is, there are ethical actions can be taken against you by the journals. They will send, believe me, the journals will send, this thing to your employer about that, that you are unethical in publication, and this can affect your job also, to some extent. Then do not. Of course, the plagiarism is something important. And here also I want to say, because when I say plagiarism, okay, 5-6 years before, I can just simply say, okay, you should not do plagiarism and you can do the plagiarism check. But nowadays, just everyone is aware about plagiarism, and I've seen many scholars, what they're doing, especially I've seen in the PhD thesis, they are just rewriting the sentences. They are just rephrasing the sentences, which is not correct. Because when you rephrase and you don't know what you're writing, you change the meaning of everything. And if you're citing someone's work and you're rephrasing, sometimes you can be in a problem just because you're using some software, where you can rephrase the entire paragraph, but that will change the meaning of the research and someone whom you're citing through that, right? Then data fabrication and falsification. So you should always have your data with me, never fabricate or never just change your data just to show some, statistical, significant difference. Okay? Improper use of human subjects and animals and improper author contribution. This is very important. Never put anyone in your publication who has not contributed in your research. Recently, I just want to again share with you, I have got one of the research scholars, because he wants to do a publication, he just asked me, okay, can you be the author of my paper, in my paper? Because he wants a name, and then maybe he can get easy publication. I straightway said, okay, it's easy for me to say, okay, yes, I will be the second author in your paper. I will get one publication, right? It's easy for me, he will pay and will do everything. But I just denied it. I said, how can I do that? And how can you approach to me for this? I just given him, a nice, he's maybe, the youngsters, they need information, they need knowledge. So never, include an author who has not contributed in your research. If you want, including from the beginning, from the when you start your research, and let him contribute in writing your paper, maybe the methods, maybe the results, or whatever it is. Okay, then the third part is, writing the manuscript. Now, it is like you're telling a story. It is very important. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be in a flow, and the reader should feel, yes, connecting your paragraph should connect to the previous paragraph. So it should be smooth, flow, coherent, and comprehensive. Okay. So of course these are the parts of the manuscript: title, abstract, keywords, introduction, method, result, discussion, references, and acknowledgements. Now, what should be the order to write? Now, how do you write your paper? Just this is a question for you to answer yourself. How do you write your paper? What you write first? Do you write introduction first? This is how you start: introduction, methods, and like this. Are you doing in this way? No, if you're doing in this way, that's incorrect. So for maximum clarity and consistency, write your manuscript in this order. This is what I do whenever I do any research projects. So first of all, you have to write your methods. That's the first thing which you should write. And this you can write during your research. When you're conducting an experiment, at that time your memory is refreshed, you know what you're doing. At the same time, you write your method part of your paper. And that makes your job really very easy when you are sending a paper for publication. And the second thing you should write is your results. So method, and then what is the outcome of your experiment. So this you should write during the research. And then on the basis of methods and results, then you should write first introduction. You see, introduction is very, very important. And you just can't have like 3-4 paragraphs, okay, anything you write. It's not like that. Introduction, sometimes just to write these 3 paragraphs, it may take 3 months' time. Because it has to be, every word has to be carefully planned. Every sentence, every citation you write here has to be meaningful, comprehensive, and coherent, and in line with your research. And then you should write after that discussion. Because introduction and discussion are to very extent related to each other. So this introduction and discussion you should write after selecting your target journal. First select the journal, okay, I want to send in this journal, because then you have to see, in that journal, is there anything in that journal, is there any article in that journal which you can cite in your paper? Again, that is very important. So you should write this after choosing your journal. And the last thing you write is your title and then the abstract. So this should be the order of your manuscript writing. So the importance of your title is that it should be means very clear, very specific. It should avoid any abbreviations, any acronyms. Try writing 3 or 4 titles and then you choose your best. Okay. The title should not be very long. It should be, not very small also, but it should be better and short and easy, to understand. Then you should, what about the abstracts? Again, the abstract, sometimes you see, abstract is just, you just make one paragraph, 500 words and write, some introduction, some data and, results and conclusion. No. But whatever, because it's very, very, restricted number of words are there, sometimes 250 words and sometimes only 500 words. So it has to be very clear and it must be able to stand alone. Because, first of all, most people will only read this section. If they find that abstract, something is in abstract, then they will go to read the paper. First of all, the people will read the title, then they will read the abstract, and then if they find something substantial in your research, then they will go in deep into your paper. So your abstract must be very clear. It should give an accurate summary of your research and conclusions reached. Sometimes I have seen that in many scholars, when they write the abstract, they give 1 paragraph or 4 lines for introduction. So why? You don't have to give 4 lines for introduction. Just start, with the objectives. Until it is specifically, asked by the journals, start with the objectives and very short and crisp. You should very clearly write, this is the methodology of your research, so that the readers will understand. And then your results should be more like 60% of your abstract should be, almost 50% should be emphasized on your results, and give the data, give the numbers, in the abstract of your results. And then, of course, 2 or 3 lines for the conclusions. Now, whether abstract should be structured or unstructured, it depends upon the journal where you are publishing. So just always refer to the guide for authors for specific requirements. Whenever because I may be saying, but some of you may be saying, oh, we all know those, we know these things, but many times I get emails, I get WhatsApp messages, and they say, oh, how to send the paper for the journal, and what's the process, what's the procedure. I feel that these scholars or the people who are asking, they're not reading, the guide for authors in their journals. Once you read the guide for authors in any journal, you will know each and everything. They explain each and everything in so detail that you don't have to consult anyone. Just read that and then you know how your manuscript has to be submitted. So a good abstract should be brief, as I said, summarize the results, state the principal conclusions, avoid abbreviations unless it is necessary, and avoid references, in the abstract. Then keywords, again, keywords are very important. And sometimes we use I just use any 3 words for the formalities, not like that. Because these keywords, again, will help in more citations and more like, in search engines, your paper will be, like searched by the scholars. So because that is used for the indexing, so used, the proper keywords, which are popular, in your say these sections, because that helps in more citations. So use established keywords and terminology from the literature and databases. Avoid general terms. Some journals do not allow keyword in the title. So if your keywords are also reflecting in the titles, then they're not. You should choose, something else. Then comes the first part of your manuscript, that is introduction. Now, why? Why introduction? Introduction means, because here you have to answer what was the question studied, right? So that's what you answer here. So, and the answer to this question is contained within your introduction. So introduction has 3 parts, like a beginning, middle, and end. So when you write these 2 or 3 paragraphs, like there are 3 sections for this introduction. So how you begin? So in the beginning, you have to provide a background information to put your work in the context. So reader should know in the first paragraph, okay, this is the background of your research and this is what you are going to present in this. So do not write a comprehensive literature review of the field. See, writing a PhD thesis and writing a research paper is totally 2 different things, right? So when you write a PhD thesis, then it's a different. You do a comprehensive literature review, but in research papers, you don't do that. This is again a limitation of the words. So all the good journals does not allow more than 5,000 words, even not more than 2-3 tables. So do cite so that readers can refer to if they want more information. So citation is very important in introduction again. So in middle part, what you should do is you should write what is the rationale or reason for your study. Explain how you address the problem, like 1 or 2 sentences, and do not state the results from your study in the introduction. Sometimes I see it is being stated. And in the end part, what you should write, clearly state the aims of your study, state the methods you will use to carry out your aims, and ask yourself, are the citations balanced, current, and relevant? That is again important in introduction. Then second section, of course, is materials and methods. So this section answers the question how, like is how you do the research. That will be answered by the first one is why, second one is introduction is why, methods is how. Okay, in this they should be very clear because methods usually have many subheadings, right? Because there are many sections. There is research design, participant sample, then questionnaires, tool, there and statistical analysis. So there can be many subheadings. So it should be very clear. Describe methods in the past tense always. New methods must be described in sufficient detail for another researcher to reproduce the experiment. If it's a new method, sometimes we employ the same, like many popular methods, many research, it does not need detailed explanation. Established methods can be referenced. If there's an established method, you always can use a reference. Like for example, if you're using a questionnaire, for which is already established, just give a reference and then everyone knows, okay, this questionnaire, this is how you don't have to then give in detail about that question. And describe statistical tests used. Now in statistics, it is the heart of your scientific inquiry. If it goes wrong, your research goes wrong, right? So consider statistical analysis when you design your study, even before you start your research. Then comes your results. So results is then what, why, how, and what. What means what did you get from your experimental findings. So assemble your findings in a logical order to make a story. Again, from a beginning to the middle and then end. So use the headings, use past tense to describe your results, but refer to the figures and tables in the present tense. Present the facts, do not discuss your results. So result section is just to present what you find. It's the findings, okay? You don't have to discuss your results here. And do not duplicate data among figures, tables, and text. Sometimes if you have a table, you don't have to write the entire table in the form of a text. So don't duplicate that because now readers can see your data in the table. So make sure that it is not duplicated. Then display the items like tables and figures. So figures and tables are very effective. Keep it simple. Use separate panels if necessary. Avoid duplication within the text. As I said, label all part of your figures and include the trend lines, scale bars, all those things, and the legends for the figures must be again standalone. And then comes discussion. So in results, you find what, right? So in discussion, we say, so what? So you say, okay, there is a significant difference on this. We found effect of this. So what? You found the effect, you find the significant difference, so what? So that, again, the discussion is, believe me personally, as in, I always see if the discussion is not written well, the paper is rejected or a lot of revisions are required because that's where now your skill will come into action. Your knowledge will come into action in discussion part. And writing a discussion is the toughest part of your paper. It's the toughest part. Introduction, methods, results is the most easiest part, right? Discussion is where you will sit, you will have a sleepless nights. Sometimes you will wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, something in the mind for that one line. And I know how much I've struggled, when I was writing, like discussions for my project reports and all. It's really a hell of the work, you do in discussion. So here, what do these findings mean? That's what you answer, in the discussion part, and the answer to this question is in the discussion. So the most difficult section for the most authors to write: present principles, relationships, generalizations shown by the results. Summarize and discuss your results. Do not just repeat them. Now here, many scholars, they make a mistake. They just repeat in discussion what is the results. You don't have to do that. Now you have to interpret your results. You have to discuss them in the light of previous findings and how it is important, why it is important, why this result has come. So you get the result, so but why it happened? What are the reasons for the significant difference? What are the reasons for the effect? You have to explain those reasons. And what does it mean for the scientific community? So use past tense to describe the results and present tense to describe their implications. Okay? But in discussion, you should be humble. Don't just say, okay, I found this, I found that. It's not like that you did something. So you have to be humble in writing your research. So don't overstate the importance of your results. Okay? Our findings prove that. Our findings shows that. Our findings suggest that there are some common phrases which you are using. So in the beginning of again, there are 3 parts for discussion. So answer the research question first in the first paragraph. Then always provide the major or main result first, so that when you're writing a discussion in the first paragraph, the reader should know, okay, this is your main research question and this is your main findings, and give your conclusions based on those results. And then in the middle part, you start interpreting the results. So interpret the results 1 paragraph per idea. So if you have 3-4 ideas in your manuscript, so give 1 paragraph for each idea. What do your observations or results imply? Are the results from the previous studies relevant to your work? It's not just simply you are showing the previous. Are they relevant to your work? Compare your results with the others. Are they same? Are they different? If they are same or if they are different, what are the reasons? You must answer that. Many times I have seen the scholars or the authors, they write, the Tomer et al. 2016 also found so and so same. But how does it matter if your results are same in the previous studies? You have to give the reason why they are same, why they are different. Then present ambiguous results and discrepancies with other studies objectively. Explain unexpected findings to the best of your ability. If you find some unexpected findings, sometimes you find findings which is not expected by a scientific community, right? So explain them. Okay, why we got this result? What are the reasons? Is it because of sample size? Is it because of the resources, feasibility, or some variables which you cannot control? Again, very important. And then briefly describe your limitations. And believe me, if you don't do all those things, what will happen? The reviewers will do that. That's for the job of the reviewers. And reviewers will give you so much of insight. And that's why I said the peer review is always a positive, aspect. So if you don't write proper discussion, many reviewers, the good reviewers, they will give you 2-3 paragraphs. They will write in detail why this happened. And if they have the same field, they can give you, they can help you out also. So reviewers will find it for you, or they will reject your manuscript by saying, okay, there is no reason, there is no interpretations, and the manuscript is rejected. And in the end part, what you should do, recreate your conclusions, begin with the signal, in summary, in conclusion, and then mention possible applications, implications, and speculations if appropriate for your study. And also, if possible, suggest future work. Okay, so that's, and the last one is, of course, the references. Always format your references. Now, how should you write your references? It depends upon which format is asked by the journal. So check the guide for authors, and formatting is required in the text for citations and for your reference sections. You can use some of the softwares like Reference, Mendeley, and Note. So I highly recommend and Note. You can get it from this link. Okay, to write your references. Now, there are something other than the writing the manuscripts is like, for example, writing a cover letters. Most of the good journals, they ask you to write a cover letters, so peer review, language, and author checklist. So the cover letter is again very important. So competition for publication space and for editors' attention is very high. You know that acceptance rate in BJSM or sports medicine or Journal of Sports Science and Health Sciences usually is 10%, hardly 10%, even less than 10%. So the competition is very high. So it is not enough to send a manuscript to a journal editor like this, like we are submitting our manuscript for consideration journal. It is not under consideration for publication as well, sincerely. So this is absurd writing, You don't write a cover letter like this. So you have to briefly, explain what you have done, what research you have done, what are the results, is there any novel findings, all those things you have to mention in the cover letter. So that after reading the cover letter, then the editors, okay, now they will look into your manuscripts and then you have a chance for publication. So your cover letter, what it should contain, it should be addressed to the editor personally. It's very important. Write his name if you know, or just write, the editor-in-chief, International Journal of Human Movement and Sports Sciences, for example. Begin by giving your manuscript a title and publication type. Give a type means like you are writing a review article or experimental research or the original article, or it is a commentary or a short article, whatever it is. Give a brief background, rationale and description of your results. Explain the importance of your findings and why would they be interest, it would be of interest to the journals or journals, target audience. So you have to give a reason to the editors, that why your paper is most fitted or suitable for the publication, and of course give corresponding author details. So then the editor decision, as I said before, also it can be a complete rejection. It happens. Majority happens like this. That most of the papers, 60 to 70% of the papers are rejected, at the time of submission only. And then rejection, then there can be a rejection with a major revision, rejection with a minor revision, and there can be acceptance. So this is what can happen at editor levels. And then comes the peer review, the most important part of any publication process. And it is the most thankless job also. You are not paid for peer review. it is a social service or community service, or you can say in academic service to the scientific community. So peer review is, so that's why I said you should never be rude to the reviewers, because they are doing the job, and they're spending, you see, if you have to write a review for any manuscript, it takes time, reading a paper, then writing. So it takes a lot of time and effort on the peer reviewer part. And peer reviewers are not, they are selected very carefully by the journals also. If you do a peer review and you just do it very carelessly, you won't get a second manuscript. I reviewed 258, I think till now 258 manuscripts. So 258 does not come like this. So it comes, when you do correctly, and it comes to you again and again, and like this it happens, And 258 comes in, 10 years of time. So you can't review too many manuscripts also in a shortage of time, right? So as I said before also, only 1.5% of papers are immediately accepted without need for any revisions. I still remember maybe in 2012, I reviewed one paper for, it was on exercise physiology, and it is in Annals of Sports Medicine. It is one of the top rated journal in all the fields. It's from the medical science, with 16, more than 16 impact factor. But in that paper, when I read, I found everything correct, but it's not true. So I was struggling, to see, okay, what are the faults or something wrong in that paper. But I remember I accepted that paper almost without any revisions, maybe just one or two small comments, and those are also a positive comments. So I didn't find anything in that paper which should be revised. Rather, I have only the just comment. I commented why it should be accepted without revision. Otherwise, till now, all the papers have gone through revisions. Reasons for rejections are failure to state a hypothesis. There's some of the reasons, there can be many more. Not answering the hypothesis, inconsistent use of terms. Sometimes you are using, a term like physical fitness, and some are using a physical activity. You can't have, they're two different terms. Physical fitness and physical activity are not the same term, right? So you have to use the same, term throughout your manuscript. Conclusion that is not supported by your data. So your data says something, and in conclusion you write something else. So which is also, it happens when you try to, avoid plagiarism or something through different software or through someone else, and you are not aware about what you have done. Now, what do the reviewers look for? They will see, the reviewers will see, is the manuscript sufficiently novel? Now these 2-3 slides are very important for any one of you who are looking for publications, because that's where the papers are rejected. Is the manuscript, of broad enough interest? Novelty, significance, it will be seen by the reviewers, aims and scope and impact factor of that, your manuscript to the targeted audience. So are the rational and objectives defined well? Is enough background given to understand the rational? Are limitations discussed? Are conclusions supported? Is literature cited appropriate, for the manuscript? So these are places where you get most of the comments. And then, could a capable researcher can reproduce your experiments? That's where we write then, okay, the methodology is very weak. Just one sentence and it can be, your manuscript can be rejected. Are results clearly explained and in the best format? Are there enough tables, enough figures? Is there contradictions within the manuscript? Sometimes you write something else in introduction and then you write something else in discussion. So these contradictions should not be there. Then how to respond? Once you have a peer review report or you have a revision from the reviewer, how to respond to the review is very important. So be polite always. Politely respond to all the reviewer's comment in a response letter. Make it easy to see the changes. Refer to a line and page number. You write, okay, line number 23, page number 10. This is what the reviewer's comment was, and this is your answer. So use a different color font, different color or different font, or highlight the text so that the reviewers will know, okay, whether you have incorporated this suggestion or not. Then consider additional experiments if suggested. You can disagree. Of course, it's not necessary that you always have to agree with the reviewer, but believe me, the editors, will 99.99% times editors will go with the reviewer's comment. So you can disagree with the reviewers, but provide evidence in your rebuttal. And normally the reviewers will not reject anything or will not write until they are not sure of. So, but certainly you can disagree, but then you have to provide a proper, rebuttal and comply with the deadlines. if the journal has asked you to send the revised file or revised manuscript within 1 week, send within 1 week. You cannot delay or have any excuses for that. Then language is very important. So you should be consistent with your language, whether you use the American English or you use the British English. Okay, so make sure that you're using consistently the same. Like for the some of the words, like what you see here in the British, is the fiber is like this, and in US fiber is like this. So be consistent with your language. So minimize the error. Internet can help you certainly, okay. And Google Scholar, you can check for the word uses. Check your target journals from the home page for full instructions. You can track changes function in MS Word, comment function, word count functions. I think you all must be knowing this. Find and replace to check for consistency. Word count function, of course, it's repeated. Then spell check you can do, but be careful when you do the spell check. Sometimes you do the spell check and it goes wrong. So always make sure that you use the correct word when you do a spell check. And of course, you can use some online glossaries provided by the academic societies using the language. And then at the end, you should do the summary and checklist for the acceptance. So appropriately design study. This is what will be looked by the journals before they accept your paper. Compliance with ethical guidelines, novel and interesting results, correct statistical tests, clear, concise, accurate writing, significance of findings explained properly, and appropriate choice of journal, and of course, the compliance with the guide for authors. And then some additional information I'm giving here, like about the structured abstract. Why should you use a structured abstract? Like you can follow either the IMRAD format or you can follow the consort format. So that it depends upon which journal you are and which type of research you are doing. So usually there's introduction, method, results, and discussion. In the abstract, okay, in the structured abstract. In some journals they don't ask for structured abstract, so you can go unstructured way. Some of the phrases like you can use here we present, here we show, here we report. In this work we introduce to test whether we performed, to examine if or we use some access to YY. Using the approach we identified so and so. So there are some of the phrases which you can use in your abstract. And in introduction you can use like we demonstrated previously. Previous studies have shown that. We have previously shown that, therefore we tested the hypothesis. This report describes experiments, and in this study we sought to extend our observations and specifically test to determine whether the purpose of this study was so and so. So these are like some of the phrases are used in introduction. In methods, you use to test whether, to examine among the cases we analyze, and so on. I will not just go on in detail. And discussion. Again, you use the words, some phrases like to the above data collectively show, the our data support the idea of that so and so, our study supports the hypothesis that so and so. Our study is limited by these things, and there were some limitations to the current study. So you can use some different phrases like this. Sometimes some phrases are quite common, and that comes in your similarity report when you do your plagiarism testing, so you can rephrase some of these sentences, these words. But usually these phrases, they're not taken into consideration by the journals as the part of the plagiarism. And this is some example for the cover letters, and you have to always say, write the authors have no conflict of interest to declare or briefly give information describing any conflict you have. Okay. Then statistics, as I said, you should consult an expert. If you are not sure about what you should do, you can use many softwares are there. You can use SPSS, of course, can be used. Many of you might be using that. And only use the word significant when describing statistically significant differences. Now, these are some of the softwares which, or some of the search engines, or platforms which are important, in publication process. Like I authenticate or Turnitin you can use to check the plagiarism, right? And this is very quite very easy to do and very handy. This is the website for Authenticate, plagiarism detection software. Then for the reference check, you can use the Google Scholar, and you can easily, even you can find, different styles like Vancouver style or APA style or, whichever style you want. Okay. And then there are some of the important IDs which we all should have. If you have not these IDs, create it, as soon as possible, because you should have these like ORCID ID, researcher ID, in Publon ID, Scopus ID. Even in ResearchGate is also, now many employers, they ask for ResearchGate also, that also is important. Like these are like some of my IDs here, which I have given here, which can be seen here. And then this is what I was talking in the beginning, and you can check through this website, which is at the bottom, to check the predatory journals. So predatory and hijack journals are very common nowadays. So predatory publishing is defined as for-profit, open access journal publication of scholarly articles without robust peer review of experts in a short period of time. So Committee on Publications Ethics, that is COPE, which is a non-profit organization committed to ensure high standards in publication ethics. In hijack journals, also known as journal phishing, fake websites are created to mimic authentic and reputable journals for their websites and abusing their names and identities. Even the ISSN number you'll find sometime, oh, this is the same number, but it's fake. Typically, hijack journals will call for paper submission with claims to be indexed by reputable entities such as again, now this is changed to the Clarivate Analytics, Scopus, or PubMed. Believe me, if you receive an email and they say that it is a Scopus journal or Web of Science and please send articles for publication, no, they will not ask you. These good journals, there is already so many applications pending for them, so their rejection rate is already very high. So they will not ask for that. So be careful with such emails which you might be receiving, through this from the journals. So publishing in a predatory, open access and hijack journals will negatively impact the integrity of academic publishing, and it can affect your job also. So this is a website from where you can check if the journal is, in predatory, journals list or not. Now the Web of Science. Now you may be interested where you can publish, which are the journals where you can publish. See, there is no dearth of journals. I'll give you a detail and I'll show you to the website also that how many journals are in Web of Science, how many journals of physical education and sports science are listed in Scopus Index. And I will take you through all those journals also. So first of all, the Web of Science. What is Web of Science? It is previously known as ISI. Historically, we used to say ISI, and previously it was Thomson Reuters, but now it is Clarivate Analytics. So there are only 4 indexes which are included in Web of Science code collection. And these are the 4 indexes where you have to see that journal should be in this 4 index. If your journal is not covered by these indexes, don't publish in those journals. Like Arts and Humanities Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, Science Citation Index Expanded, and Emerging Sources Citation Index. I think in India, in UGC, if I'm not wrong, Emerging Sources Citation Index is not considered. If your paper is published in these journals, maybe it is not counted for that purpose. But otherwise, all around the world, it is accepted. So you can get the master list of the journal through this website, from the clarivate.com, mgl.clarivate.com is a comprehensive list of journals that includes 24 index lists. So in Webo, you can say like, in ISI, what people used to say, there are 24 indexes, but from these 24 indexes, only these 4 indexes are in Web of Science category. Okay, not any other journals. Now, next thing what you should know is the journal citation reports. So this is again a separate search engine for the Clarivate Analytics, and I think you can access this only through your the full features of this you can access through your institutional access. If your university has paid for this, and you can use your university email to access the all metrics from journal citation reports. And through this JCR, only you will know whether the journal is Q1 rank, Q2 rank, Q3 rank, what the impact and all the details. So the JCR, which I'll show you, just, online, I'll go to this website and show you how it is being accessed. It offers various quality metrics about journals listed in Web of Science, including most importantly, the ranking quartiles of a selected journal with respect to all the categories to which it belongs. So the quartiles of a journal can be retrieved through the following steps. You visit the JCR page, then enter the full name. I will show you, this once I finish this. I will take you to that page. Now in the Web of Science, there are actually 21 groups. You can say the subject groups, you can say, and these 21 groups, if you divide in the category, there are 254 subject categories are there. So this is in journals. You have so many journals like you can say 22,000 Web of Science journals are there for publication. But how many for the sports science? That is important. Okay. So I'll take you to the next page to show how many. Now this is for the UGC care list. I think this data is maybe a little bit old, but maybe some more journals might have been added. You can correct me later on, you can just check by yourself. This is the care UGC care list, group 1. And in the group 2, these are like, which are published in India, there's some journals which are not indexed, in here. UGC has, given recognition to some of the journals, but I'm sure there is none of the journal from sports science falls in this category, right? In group 1. So you are left with only to publish in group 2. In group 2, you have like Web of Science. The 3 indexes are there: Arts and Humanities Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Science Citation Index expanded. And then you have, of course, a Scopus list. Now, all together, if you see here, you have more than 200 journals around the world. More than 200 journals are there, for you for the publication. So it's not that sometimes many people ask, okay, where can I publish? There are 200 journals to choose. So journals are there. So if you have a quality research, good research, you can publish, in any of these 200 journals. And I'll give you the list of these 200 journals right after some time. Now, this is the journal for the sports and exercise science, which you may be of interest. Like in Web of Science core group, there are total 127 journals where you can choose. It was like 124 earlier, 3 more are added now. And again, in different categories, you can see how many journals are there. So if you look at the growth of the sports science, I remember some time back, like 3 years back when I gave a lecture on this, our sports science was ranked at 97. So there are 254 subjects category in Web of Science, and now the rank of the sports science is 86. So it shows a lot about, the research which is being done in sports science. So it means there are more than 100, 150 journals, 150 subjects which are behind us in terms of, the ranking, right? And of course, this is just a trend. So before I finish my lecture, I just want to, just a minute, I want to show you, yeah, I will take you to the page here.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please show it, sir.
The journal, this is a JCR. I was talking about journal citation reports. So here you can see these are the journals for the sports sciences, and you can see how many. Just hide this somewhere else. You can hide it here. Okay. You can see here there are 127 journals, and you can see the ranking. So you can see the topmost journals. Here is the British Journal of Sports Medicine, is the #1 ranked journal at present in sports science. Then you have Journal of Sports and Health. Then you have Sports Medicine. So on. So just here you can see. You can see here this is the Q1. There's a Q1 rank. Then it's all this Q1, then Q2 rank. So you can see all 127 journals. So you can access, from this website. Like these are like the categories of the journals. How you access this sports science category? How do you know how many journals in sports science? You have to see first, go to these 254 categories, and from here you will find out. I'll show you where it is. Sports science is only sports science will be at rank number 120, 97 rank. This is here the sports science. So when you click on the sports science category here, then you will go to you will see the journals in the sports science here. So you have 127 journals in Web of Science. You publish any of the journals, it is accepted, by the, as per UGC norms. Okay, then there is a Scopus. If you see here in the Scopus, I have searched for you. It is like 209 journals from physical education and sports are in Scopus list. Again here the number one rank is British Journal and so on. So you get 209 journals from the Scopus list, and all these 200 are listed here. How to find that? You go to the Scopus website, log into your account, and then what you do is you can because there are more than I think 40,000 journals in Scopus. So just do this filter. Like I have done strength and conditioning, sports, physical education, fitness, exercise. Use this, as a filter, and then you will see 209 journals you will find, in Scopus list. So it's a lot of journals are available there. Then, as I said, you should have your ID. Like this is my Scopus ID. You will know when you have your Scopus ID, you will know how many citations you have, what is your H index in Scopus. And you can see your papers and publications also here. Same thing, you can get it for the ORCID also. You should have your ORCID ID. And this is like my ORCID ID, okay? So this is, then you can see all your papers, you can see here, which are published, in the ORCID. And then in Google Scholar, of course, everyone knows it is very easy to access. In Google Scholar, you can see your citations, you can see your H index, like my H index is 7, my I-10 index is 6. You can see all your papers and how many times they are being cited. And then same way you can have also the Publon. This is my ID on the Web of Science. So usually Google Scholar you get high citations, because that's include all the journals which are not even in Web of Science. In Web of Science you can see how many documents you have in Web of Science, how many publications are in Web of Science journals. You can see here like my profile, how many citations you have. You can see your H index in a Web of Science. Like I have 5 H index. 27 times cited. So this is how you can see, as in Web of Science. And that's it. So you can create all these IDs for you, and you can, put a link to all these IDs, in your resume and all, so that any prospective employer or researcher, they can access your profile and see it. So with this, I think I try to give you an overview of how to publish a manuscript, where you can send your papers and all those things. And that's all from my side. Thank you so much for giving me a patience hearing. I know I've taken a lot of time. If you have any questions, you can ask me. You can send me an email also later on, and I will give my best to help you out.
Please share your email ID so they can ask, they can send any inquiry, they can just send through email. Share your email ID, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful session where our participants and scholars have gained plenty of knowledge to publish their papers in a wonderful journal. Thank you, sir. We'll meet in the next occasion. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have the paper presentation now. May I request Dr. Asad Ali Khan, Dr. Shiv Kumar to come onto the stage to felicitate Dr. Sendil Kumar. Asad, you are here. Wow. Dr. Sendil Kumar is the chairperson here. We're very happy to have Dr. Desingarajan, the chairperson of today's session. I request Dr. Albert Chandrasekhar and Dr. Christopher to come on the stage to felicitate Dr. Desing Rajan. Please. டாக்டர் நவீனா நீங்கள் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணுறீங்களா? ரெடியாக இருங்க, அங்கே கொடுத்துருங்க உங்களுடைய இதை. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand, and we are very happy to have Dr. Desing Rajan as our chairperson for today's presentation. Thank you, sir. By 4 p.m., we'll end this session along with a high tea. So have some patience and listen to the physical directors from WCCC, who is going to present a paper. Sir, Sendil sir, inga vaanga sir. Our directors, Dr. Asad and Dr. Sivkumar, to felicitate Dr. Sendil Kumar from VEC. He is a chairperson for today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to Dr. Sendil Kumar, the chairperson for today's session. Thank you, sirs. Please take your seat, sir. Yes, sir. The session will be of 8 minutes, Dr. Navina, and 2 minutes for the discussion.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Now I am here to present a thematic paper, that is exercise adherence in group fitness classes. Exercise is a, yes, you can change. Exercise is a consistent and planned physical activity performed with the intention of improving or maintaining overall health and fitness. And the exercise adherence is maintenance of an active involvement in physical exercises. Today, the poor health is highly related to the way we live. Exercise can have profound positive health and well-being irrespective of age. Everyone, we know that physical activity is essential for our lifestyle. And from infancy through childhood, even when we go through from adolescence to adulthood also, that physical activity can be productive, and it will be carry over numerous effects on our physical health. Several researchers insist that daily participation in physical activity in indoor or any any type of leisure activity we are supposed to involve to improve our health and to develop our well-being. To achieve this end, it is important for us to adhere into any type of physical activity to stay fit throughout our life. For that, move to the next slide. For that, group fitness classes have emerged. That is very popular strategy to improve to exercise adherence. As well as the group fitness classes, it is an mind booster. Exercise as a part of group provides the opportunity to interact with people, and we can meet new people, and as well as we can make new friends. And all of these, one more thing that is very important, that it helps to combat the loneliness. When we do our workout on alone, maybe at one point it will be a boredom, but when we do the exercise as a group, it will be more effective, and we can help to retain and we can to maintain to continue that activity. And the exercise with the group brings an added benefits and also makes us to feel good. People often cited various reasons for not doing the activity, but it is only a perception, not in reality. When the group fitness classes becomes more enjoyable, satisfying, meaningful, and convenient, then it will compete all the leisure activity. Can you please? These are the, everybody knows, these are the very common benefits and barriers. Benefits, we have the physical health, we can improve our mental health, as well as the social benefits we are getting when we are doing the exercise regularly. And the following are the very few barriers that everybody, we are saying that I'm not able to do the exercise because of the lack of time, lack of skill, and these are very common. Everybody knows these are the barriers we are saying that we'll not able to continue our activity. For this only now, that group fitness classes is emerging now with a popular strategy that we can overcome all these barriers. But for that group fitness classes also, they are stating that the few factors they are influencing in the group fitness classes also. Can you please change the slide? That they are suggesting that psychological factors like motivation, enjoyment, stress management, self-esteem and mental health, as well as the social factors like social support, family, work responsibility, and income, social economic status, educational level and occupation, and few environmental factors and the physical factors like physical health condition, injury, age, and so many factors that are influencing the adherence to group fitness classes. But many research are proved that the major contribution towards the influence in group fitness classes, that is psychological and social factors. Here that are the participant who enjoy the workout are more likely to continue their activity throughout their life. And as well as the social bond among the group fitness classes can also help to reduce the feeling of isolation. That is, that they'll be able to get the support from the peer, that is, whoever is doing as a group. If one is not able to do it, the other will give the hand to help them to come and do the activity. Then social cohesion within the group enhance the motivation. That is the group dynamics that you can get it from all the people in your group is going to achieve the goal. That is, you have to maintain your fitness or you have to improve the fitness. So these factors is also influencing the group fitness classes adherence. And the instructors is playing a major role. Because when we are doing the group fitness classes, whenever we feel very low, that time also the instructor will guide us, and the instructor will lead us, and they'll take up the leadership role, and they are making us to sustain in that activity, and we can take it up and we can stick on to that activity over a period of time. Barriers. These are the barriers to adherence in group fitness classes. Many technology advances and convenience have made our life easier and less active. Many physical, psychological, and behavioral psychological barriers may affect our plan to become more physically active. The few researches that reveal that adherence, that these are the following barriers to adherence in group fitness classes. The participant can drop out, maybe the fear of injury or overtraining. Because when they are doing the group fitness activity, they may be the participants with different fitness levels. Each one is having a different fitness level, so they may say that there may be the barrier, they may get injured, or it may be the chances for overtraining. And they can state that the time constraints and the accessibility, because it may be the one people may find that the time will be convenient, the next one may be feel that the time is not available for them to do the activity. And then move on to the previous slide. Nowadays, everybody aware that the cost of participating in the group fitness classes is highly demand, and it is increasing. It depends upon the demographic and geographical conditions also. In each places, we can witness the group fitness classes they were organizing to improve the fitness. The cost of participation is very high. They are stating that these are the barriers to adherence in group fitness. Next, these are the strategies when they fix upon to this to eliminate the barriers, and they help them to adhere into the group fitness classes. That is incorporating variety and progression. Maybe it should be a mix of all the type of activity, like maybe the dance, maybe any sort of different sort of variety of programs can be included in the training schedule. And their progression, it may be a proper planned training should be followed, that it should be from the intensity level, they have to raise it, and provide the social support mechanism is the next strategy. Fostering community building activities such as group challenges or social events can enhance the participants to belongings and accountability. Achieving goals. Goal setting is an effective motivational tool. Instructors can help the participants to fix up the achieving goal, to set it as a realistic, using technology, incorporating fitness apps and the wearable like smartwatch gadgets, the fitness tracking gadgets, and everything is now in our midst, so that also allow the participants to monitor their progress. Additionally, offering virtual options can help increase accessibility and consistency. Educational support. Providing participants with knowledge about the benefits of exercise, proper techniques, and injury preventions can empower them to take ownership of their fitness journey. Thank you. Here, the group fitness classes play an important role in enhancing exercise adherence by fostering motivation through group dynamics and instructor leadership and social support. And when we draw the fitness activity for the group, we have to consider their psychological and social factors that helps to drive them to adhere to their fitness classes, and ensure that the participants remain engaged and committed to their fitness goals over the time. And recommendations is the exploring the impact of, nowadays we are emerging into the online classes also. So there are so many fitness channels in YouTube channels are there, and the fitness apps are there. So we can recommend that to adhere into the fitness activity when we are using the fitness apps. As well as the further research can be taken with the investigate how the different age groups and the populations respond to various class structures and intensity level. Thank you.
Congrats, Navina. Actually, your topic is very good, fantastic one. But I think group fitness you said in general.
Yes, sir.
What are the specific group fitness programs are there? Can you
Yes, sir. Maybe it depends upon the age. Nowadays, we have the so many like Cult Fitness and Reebok classes, and in every gyms, there may be a Pink or any gyms. They may have the, without considering the gender also, it's a unisex classes are there, as well as specifically for women, as well as for the men. Like that, maybe the dance. That way, I mentioned in the some. It should be a varied progression.
Cycling and marathon also you
Yeah.
can include.
Yes, sir.
So
It depends upon their intensity of participating in that activity also. Maybe one may be good in the group will form like that only. If they are a good runner, the runners should join together and they'll do and they can perform that activity for a longer period.
yeah, that can be.
I
You must
have to
have.
include.
Yeah, you must have brought this
Okay, sir, sure.
PPT so that it will be easy to others to understand. But anyway,
Specificity about the group fitness classes.
fine. Ma. Otherwise, it's good. So,
Thank you, sir.
any questions from audience sides?
What's the other side of group fitness classes? You are focusing on the advantages,
Yes,
and maybe some disadvantages also there.
Some-
But disadvantages also there.
Yes, sir. That's why I mentioned the few barriers according to the studies.
Yeah.
Can you please go through the slides? That I said that time. Can you please go through it? Barriers that injury and time management and the cost of the participation. These are the only very little, but it was the studies state these are the major barriers they are concluding it here
Okay.
for the group fitness classes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just calling.
Satish from Andaman.
Good afternoon to one and all representative and respective chairperson. On my topic is today's innovation application of artificial intelligence, computer visions, enhance the performance and strategy in modern field hockey. The nowadays is hockey, it's a very fastest game in artificial turf. Next. We have to 3 generation we can to split to that. The first 1928 Amsterdam Olympics to 1996 Paris, Barcelona, Spain Olympics. Since that time, this was played for the mud court played hockey. The hockey sticks had made it a difference on that time. The blade has to be very wider. After that, 1980 Moscow Olympics, first artificial turf is introduced. From that time to 2000 Sydney Olympics is played in artificial turfs in grass. Turf that time has the no application of innovative in scientific application in technologies. 2002 and still now we have to the sports science is applied in various tools and to research will be enhances that. But in India is the very lacking this performance due to when they introduced for the artificial turfs, the performance is reduced because lack of the infrastructure facilities in our nation. After that, in development in grassroots level, in Kelo India, so many different places will be improved. But still, we have the grassroots level, we have to improve. That's why we will be lacking this performance. Along with the technology application with artificial, nowadays is ideal players only we are applying. International players only there. But grassroots level is never to reach. They don't know where and technicians want to require. that's required for the initially want in various in India training centers are there. Site trainings, excellence, and state sports hostels. We will be applied to that without damage, without change for the fundamental. We will apply to that. We will enhancement of the performance to additional to improve. Next. The research questions, the how the drive artificial intelligence drive the performance analysis, develop the field hockey. The investigations can be tracked, access individual player movements, techniques and skills. The next research questions, what role of the computer vision to real-time strategy during the field hockey matches? The potential computer visions, the analysis of the game, dynamic suggest, real-time tactics, switch over to the coaches. If you see the matches will be going on the real match. The coach analysis is sitting on the gallery. He will be communicate for the head coach. The player will be the fatigue, this section. This player, the offense player is a weak. The injury is happened. So immediately change to the player. Command will be given. Suddenly will the instructor for the coach, the change of the player. This will be utilized with the computer visions. Third, the worst of the enhance the decisions, making the process to the coaches during the critical moment in the game. The look is of the how can analysis scenario, the more prediction suggests the improve the decision making under the pressure. The last Olympics, you see the German and India playing. The last minute, the player is out of position, is stand the defender. That is suddenly will be the German will put the last minute the goal. We lost the match in India. That's why we don't have the understanding, and the players will be the GPS technique is never to follow to that. That time you have to know the instruction will be given for the computer analyzer. They will be given the instruction for the head coach. We will be protect to save the teams, the Olympics. Next. Reviews. Next. The application of artificial intelligence of the sports industry, this analysis of athletic performance and coach and injury performance, sports nutrition, these are will be it's a very the improve our the quality of our players. Next. The vision of the technology is revolving of the landscape of this modern include the field hockey. One is the virtual reality and the match real analysis and computer, the umpires, the third umpires, they will be analyzing for the tool. The any incidents it's happened, we have the review, there will be decisions will be given. Next, the spectators, any issues that during the competition that will happen, the spectators to monitor also the using for the artificial intelligence. Next. And during the training, the computer vision, we have to improve the quality of the skills, especially for the drag flick, the penalty push, and goalkeeper movements. All this we have to the application with computer vision. We can to the real time the situation we can realize to the particular players on the time. Next. And the various device can be used for the artificial intelligence and the computer visions in field hockey. One is a GPS and is a high speed camera, and high performance sports is analysis, the mechanical learning softwares, the various softwares we can to use, and motions movement and wearable of the sensor. These are we have to will during the training section we have to application will well equip in our the quality of the players. Next. The injury and risk factors. The injury it's definitely it's happened. during the training, because we are nowadays is playing with the artificial turf. The one match want to play, the water spray in artificial turf, 32,000 spray the water, and after that the play. Two players will be against water resistancy, it can to play. That's why it's one of the major fact injuries there. At the same time, that turf is a very high speed can be generated. The acceleration has to the more. Next. Conclusion. Still in our nation as a infancy of the technology in application. Yes, we are a national team. One reputed institution only apply for the ideal players, but all our national different geographical location want to apply for this or artificial intelligence and computer vision. The quality of players can be improved for day by day. To our national standard also improve. We are easy to get the medal in the Olympics and World Championships. Thank you.
Sir, a very good presentation, sir. And actually, it's our national game, and we are really proud of this presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And my simple question, sir, actually, for computer vision is maybe a 2D kind of the camera. So we have to make and record everything from 2D space only. So is there any possibility to make a 3D kind of thing? Because if someone has some mistake, from the other side, the other person also maybe the hidden factors are there. So is there any possibility, sir, to make more cameras in the ground?
The camera is at a different angle they can fix. The research center is available. One is a sports university, another Bangalore regional centers. There will be motion analysis. There will be the capture will be the method can to follow.
Okay, so from different cameras you are taking the input.
Yes.
In a single time.
Yes.
Right? Okay, sir. That's great.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, do you think that we are sufficient enough of technologies in our India? As you said, we are following only because we have seen the Olympics. Only in the, I think, even not even the national championship also, we are not following this methods. Even now, this national championship happening in Chennai now. Is it possible to adopt all those systems in the grassroots or this national level competitions and all? Because whatever you said, everything is in the international level only. But what are the ways and methods to bring all these facilities to the grassroots level? Or even, I don't think so. In even the national championship also, they are not following.
Yes, it is possible. How it's because the government of India is so much funds will be providing in Khelo India. The one of the part will be concentrate for the artificial and computer visions. We can simultaneously go the grassroots and technology application. If it is after 20 years, we can to achieve the reach. Sari said 2036 for the Olympics will be in India. That time we can definitely use. Because you are only the standard of players you are play, they never to reach for the grassroots. The next generation will come for the youngster for the ideal players next will come. So the initial stage we have to apply, will be reached for the performance. The Khelo India, this definitely there will be one of the part will be application for the equipment method they can to follow. This one also you can parallelly we can do implementation, definitely we can to achieve that.
Yeah, because only in the NCOE they have all these facilities.
Yeah.
Apart from NCOE, I think Ramachandra and Sports University.
Yeah,
and,
only few institutions
few
are there.
Only they have.
Want to increasing for the number of institutions.
Government should increase.
Government and the training center also, the Sports Authority of India, the Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu, the different institution they can enhance for these are facilities that definitely you can improve.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So any questions from audience side?
Sir, as you said, innovative applications of AI and computer vision in enhancing. So, sir asked you whether that type of applications are not applicable, that's not used in a national level or in a grass level. So, this conference is one of the example for that, because both this director of sports is associated with the School of Computing. That can be also, we can practice in a real-time scenario also. We can involve our students to what are the basic need of a sports person. For that, we can develop some technology, or we can implement some AI techniques, addition tree, to process we can do to win the match. So that we can implement. So in grassroots level also we can implement by collaborating different departments in the universities. That is very important, because we have more specialized persons in AA as well as addition tree. But that the thing is, we are only focusing on the content of the abroad. We are not focusing on the problems, real-time problems which we are facing inside our college or in our state. So that is the main thing. We need to focus on the problem which we face day-to-day life in a real-time scenario. So that we can do in slowly in our university also, we can plan to do that things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think SRM, my appeal is SRM is having fantastic international players and a very many. They are getting many medals in the Khelo India as well as All India Inter-Universities. My suggestion is, I think SRM they can have this kind of facilities in your campus, so that definitely you can move to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So next I would like to invite Sweta from the nutrition department.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Sweta from Clinical Nutrition Department. My topic is optimizing nutrition for diabetic athletes, balancing the blood sugar and its performance. Next slide, please. Introduction. Managing professional athletics depends upon the various sports and its challenges in managing diabetes, and wherein dietary guidelines differs from each sport. And diabetic athletes, they require a personalized nutrition plan. A balanced diet which includes the regular meals and snacks, it is essential for the glycemic control. This review explores the optimal nutritional strategies for athletes during pre-exercise, during exercise, and post-exercise. Next slide, please. The role of nutrition in managing type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes needs a moderate protein, which requires healthy fats, but carbs must be taken in a moderate amount. And the specific nutrition needs, it will vary different upon the sports like for cricket, hockey, volleyball, etc. Endurance athletes may need extra carbs for high-intensity athletes to adjust their insulin timings. The role of nutrition in managing type 2 diabetes. A balanced diet is crucial for diabetic athletes, and complex carbs, moderate proteins, and high fats are required. And fiber-rich foods are essential for blood sugar level, maintaining it. You have to consult a healthcare professional to go for a personalized advice. Like pre-require or pre-workout nutrition. Diabetic athletes should consume low glycemic and carbohydrate foods, and the carbohydrates should be 15 to 30 grams. And carbohydrate supplements are recommended for longer workout during the exercise sessions. And the carbohydrates should be consumed in small amounts but in a frequent manner. And liquid carbohydrates are absorbed faster, and it helps to replenish the fluids. And the type of sugar and the beverage affects the digestion speed. Carbohydrate gels, fruits, protein bars are the additional requirements. Post-workout nutrition. We have to consume 1.2 to 1.5 grams of carbohydrates and first 4 to 5 hours post-exercise to replenish glycogen stores. And post-workout intake aids muscle repair and growth. Exercise-induced insulin sensitivity, it reduces the risk of hypoglycemia. And we have to maintain the carbohydrate intake. Discussion. Type 1 and type 2 athletes are diabetes-friendly diet should be followed depending upon the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And the Mediterranean diet is a good option for the diabetic athletes. We have to consider a highly carb to protein ratio for the non-athletes. We have to maintain the blood sugar closely. And energy bars and rings are required for the athletic diabetes. Next slide, please. Conclusion. Athletes with diabetes should follow a diabetes-friendly diet, and close monitoring of the blood glucose is essential, and regular consultation of the healthcare professions will be mandatory. Thank you. These are the references I've referred.
Okay. So can you go for references? So what are the papers you are referred? Is there any? Yeah.
Like diabetes sports.
Okay.
And your association with diabetes.
Can you just cite 1 or 2 papers which are published? No. Before, yes.
Like I think the 10th reference.
Reference only. Yeah.
The last, next slide, please. The nutrition telemetry for athletes with diabetes. I referred it. It's related to sports. I've referred it mainly.
But not all, everything is from abroad only, not in India, right?
No, sir. It is
this
mixed
topic
of
itself,
both.
Topic
Actually,
itself new to us. Because normally.
yes. But it's actually more of international and Indian also.
Okay, madam. There is a study that the cause for diabetes is basically your tension and other things rather than the food. That's a new recent finding. What is your say on this?
Like other than food, like inadequate sleep and all such things, and your hunger will be more, and the stress level.
Yeah,
that all depends.
Due to stress only, diabetics is
yes,
happening.
stress and more intake of not only sugar, but more intake of salt also may lead to diabetes. And the obese patients and high blood pressure patients, if they don't maintain the BP in a normal level, they may also be prone to diabetes.
Any other questions from audience side?
Madam, are you come across any diabetic athletes in your?
As for no, sir, only in the journals and articles.
Also, first question is that. Possible illa.
Okay, if no more questions, then we can call for the next.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
A very good morning, good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Shrija, and I'm here to present my research on the title Smart Yoga Mat for the Real-Time Poster Detection and Feedback. So, as the name suggests, Smart Yoga Mat for the Real-Time Poster Detection is where when we perform asanas in our yoga mat, some people doesn't know how to perform in a correct way. So, in Chakrasana and other the Vajrasana, we need a proper perfection of angle foldings at 180 degree in our joints and to adjust our back down. So this performing asanas with different posture is required to be very important. So this main motive idea of this title began when I started my research. This yoga has been practiced in centuries and centuries of years back. So, so performing yoga has been found. There is a lot of significance and other mental satisfaction, mental clarity, physical strength, and flexibility. So, by performing all these yoga, all the asanas according to our body BMI and other way, mass and height, we got to know that how yoga can cure various diseases too. So this research mainly started when this ancient of people who started to perform yoga. So this when we do perform this yoga, we need to accurately know how we are performing it, and anything that we do, we need an accuracy and a feedback. So in order to get that, I just came up with an idea where to create a smart yoga mat. So in smart yoga mat, where it get a real time detection of a feedback. So where when we perform yoga asanas in our yoga mat, we will be having AI detecting camera as well as another sensors like accelerometer, gyroscopes, which will be placed in our yoga mat that would detect the various asanas that we perform. And in that, we would be having our, in AI camera, we have various n number of algorithms. In those algorithms, we can just first and train the model in that. So by training model, we can insert the various types of yoga asanas with an image and various angle degrees. So while doing Vajrasana, we need to fold our legs at the proper 90 degree. So in that, those measurements and those points, particularly where we need to be clear, will be programmed, will be predefined, and will be trained in the model. So in that model, when we perform that particular asana, our AI camera will be keep on detecting the way that we perform asanas for in the delay of 2 seconds. So for every 2 seconds, we will get a feedback where when we perform Vajrasana, for example, when our posture is wrong at folding of our knees. So at that time, we would get a feedback through our smart watch. And I particularly did my research for giving a feedback in smart watch, because many number of people they prefer watch during performing asanas instead of phone. And the phone, they feel while looking at the phones for the feedback, they feel distracted and they discontinue sometimes. So watching all those is very important. So if we fold the angle, I mean in a leg not in a proper way, we would get a feedback to fold in a vibration that will be produced in our smartwatch that would give the feedback to fold the legs. So this is the main thing that I aimed for this research. And the main objective that one of the main objective is easy feedback, easy enhancement. So there are in few areas and places where we don't have a accurate yoga asanas scholars or the teachers who teach us in the perfect manner. So so for this performing, we can promote the individuality of performing yoga. There are few people who might not do yogas at the morning and the evening. So according to the time they prefer and according to their time permits, they will do the yoga asanas and at the time. So this can promote a proper and accurate interaction and a perfection while doing yoga. So the next. So this is the main thing that I have planned. So yoga mat, when you perform yoga and yoga asanas in the yoga mat, those will be detected using our sensors and AI cameras. That will be processed in our AI algorithm, and for every 2 seconds we will be getting our feedback. So the processing will be happening in the cloud or the mobile app, which would be used, a mobile app which would be later used for the performances, and the last feedback would be provided at our smartwatch. So this mainly we perform by implementation is first user interaction layer, that is the main yoga mat, and then this is been processed using CNN, convolution neural network, and the machine learning algorithm, and which is being cloud. And this whatever we perform, we can have a previous history of looking back at our mobile apps for processing and what are the mistakes that we did, and we make sure that we don't do those mistakes again in our back. So the main the next slide please. So then how we collect our data is, there are labeled diagrams, and there are more than 3,000 plus asanas has been found till date, and those are being performed by our ancients and people from the very long time. So generally what is that we have did is, we have collected all the datas, yoga asana datas, and the informations, for example, as I said, folding of legs and folding of hand at the proper pronation and supination movement. For that, we will be using those and implementing that in algorithm. So then later, data augmentation, where image were augmented using rotating, scaling, and horizontal mirroring. This helps in the accurate reading and training the model. The next is model training and evaluation matrix. So there might be few questions that why are we, as we use AI camera, and why do we need sensors, especially in our yoga mat? So for this, why do I have planned like that is detecting in AI mat and those sensors of sensors for the posture detection and the gesture detection feedback. So while taking all these both feedback will be compared and will be giving accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 score by taking all these, comparing all the scores, and then the feedback in the watch will be produced. So we also ensure and double check whether this is being done in a proper way. And then performance analysis, our confusion matrix, and the feedback. Once the data which has been taken, it is now used to analyze the poses for further refinement and assess by measuring the percentage of uses successfully done throughout the yoga. And so what are the advantages when we talk about in this is, since we have two type of, that is AI and the sensors, so the accuracy and the precision value would be higher, and then the instant feedback for, as I said, every 2 seconds, in delay of 2 seconds, we would get back the stability, the system's ability to deliver the immediate corrections. And so instant feedback is being received through our smartwatch. Reduce dependence on instructor. So there are, we don't need a special or particular instructor to perform this yoga. So by using this mat, we can promote the individuality and the way that we perform, and we don't need to depend on others when we do this yoga in this particular yoga mat. And this is training efficient. So beginners and who wants to learn, and or those people who tries to improve more quickly, this system provides a clear and direct corrections. So this is also integration with the wearable technologies. So this integration of smartwatch offers a continuous tracking and guidelines even outside the yoga and the environment. So in that, as I said, we can see the feedback and the performance in our mobile app. So this improves our efficiency and the accuracy that they do. Whatever we create or we do find, there are few disadvantages too. So those people who doesn't know about the technology, they need to learn first how to use the mat. For example, when we give old people or people who doesn't know anything about the technology of the latest version, so for them it would be very difficult to understand and cope up with the technology. And it is most privacy concerns. What I say here is, so various pictures of yours will be taken in the AI camera. So this will be processed in the algorithm. So data privacy concern is very, we have to take it with a more secured concern. And cost is very little high, and then the cost is very high because as we install various sensors and cameras, that is starting would be very high. But overall, this yoga mat would provide an efficient and useful for people who wants to improve their mental stability, flexibility, and their body postures. So this is my research that I have did, and thank you for providing me this opportunity. Thank you. Any other questions?
So, good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
So we are eager to know how much cost.
Actually, sir, this has been...
as per your research.
Sorry?
As per your research.
As per my research, it would cost around 3,000 to 4,000, sir. So because since we use various sensor and those user interference layer, so we need to provide a accurate and high quality yoga mat. So that's taken to concern. So it will be around 3,000 to 4,000.
Okay.
Can we use these mats for performance analysis like national championship and other competitions? And can we get accuracy in this mat? Performance analysis, I'm asking.
I think so, yes, sir. I think we can get it. Performance accuracy, I haven't taken that. I haven't seen much on that side. I'll definitely look in and will let you know, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A good presentation, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
The first thing is why you choose CNN for training?
CNN, sir, that's one of the most user-friendly network area, and people, we all well know about CNN. And the other thing is the CNN the programming would be very easy. And to be honest, I know CNN a little more well. So I opted for CNN.
One more thing is you told that cost is around 3,000 to 4,000.
Yes, sir.
So without implementing a product, how we can tell it can be around 3,000 or 4,000?
Having on the sensors price on mind, sir. So the camera is around 2,500 if we get for the high quality, and then later the sensors, each sensors would cost around 400 to 500. So when we take approximately, it's 3 to 4, sir. That's why I said 3 to 4.
Cloud is also not secured one.
Sir?
You are uploading the images of each and every image of the person.
Yeah.
So you are going to upload in the cloud cloud
Yes,
application
yes,
only.
sir.
So it's also, it's not.
That's what I said in the same
Yeah,
disadvantages, sir. So since it takes so many pictures of us for every 2 seconds, it won't be that much if privacy concern thing. So we must be very careful on what we use and be before what we use, sir. So that is to be taken as a concern, and that we have
But
to improve
the
it,
idea
sir.
is good, but it takes more time to implement these things.
Yes, sir. That's the most.
Because this CNN is out of model, ma. Nowadays, lot of net training
Yeah,
algorithms
sir.
are come. So,
Yeah, sir.
as a concept, it is okay, but you need to add more technical things in that. Then only you can go for implementation, or you can go for training. Because in training itself, it need more and more pictures. Without
sir.
giving a 5 pictures or 6 pictures, we can't
No, sir.
train a machine
because
language.
since there are a lot of asanas, that more than 3,000 plus asanas
And
are
also,
there.
you are going to compare the image with the real time one.
Yes,
So that also very difficult. It takes more programming knowledge to match, compare both the still image with the live image.
Yes, sir.
So it is also somewhat difficult. So
Yes.
practically, it maybe takes more technological investment in that work.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So next presenter.
Can you start? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of you. I am Dr. Ramesh, working as assistant professor, Vinaya Mission College of Physical Education, Vinaya Mission Research Foundation, Salem. Also, collaboration with this paper, Dr. G. Tangavel, assistant professor, Xavier University. My topic, an investigation of prevent injury among Indian Kabaddi athletes. The many type of reviews to collected for the Kabaddi players. For the Kabaddi is the game of deep Indian roots because of extensive utilized to pushing to jumping and twisting movement in Kabaddi. The classified body contact sports. The many authors given to the reviews. Next. Okay, the Kabaddi player from the every Indian provide the back of the study of population. The study of used to purposive sample of technique with the following for the inclusive and exclusive for the criteria for the Kabaddi athletes with injury for histories and Kabaddi athletes with the active injury and inactive Kabaddi athletes. The utilized of material for these study following the injury to report for the questionnaire for development and published and fuller. The questionnaire for the asked to participate about the height and weight and body mass index. The addition to the question recording for the nature and causes of the injury. The methodology to utilize for total 41 were including the sample based on criteria of established for the study both male and female. The thanks to Google form to survey cloud to easily shared the order to do conclusion from the survey for result to construct utilizing to the Microsoft Excel. the question recording for the kabaddi player for injury report for the age and height and weight for the construct of standard deviation. This for data utilization of standard deviation of tool. Next. This chart to utilize to the for female of anthropometric age based of group distribution for the standard deviation. The classification type of in injury for rider male and female. The rider for 17, defender for 11. The upper limb for injuries for upper limb to male for 10. Lower limb for the male 15 and other body to injury for the 3. Female category for rider for 5, defender for 8, upper limb to injury for 8 and lower limb for 5. They classified of the type of injuries. They detail the state of kabaddi player, both and female, to distribute of anthropometric data. The male kabaddi player athletes, so the youngest participant was 13-year-old, the oldest 34 years. The standard deviation for 2169, a normal body mass 24.58. The founded among the kabaddi athlete according to the result, the female kabaddi athletes anthropometric data, so the normal range of body mass index 22.07. The youngest participant to 18 years oldest for being to 13 years. The oldest, the mean radio for 22.89 plus or minus 4.8. These for categories for the injury of anatomical ranges for abdominal limb, neck and spine guard, sternum, stomach, pelvic, all the categories in injury for the anatomical ranges. Next. For the conclusion, the study so that male kabaddi player for Indian more likely to lower body injuries including the knee and ankle problem, whenever the female kabaddi players more likely to have upper body injuries like to clavicle and shoulder problem. As a result of, we think to the crucial for kabaddi coaches in India to put more effective into the training program, find way to reduce to the risk of injuries. This is for reference. Thank you.
Yeah, good attempt, sir. You explained well. And this injury part, as you said, whether probabilities or whether it is in mud court or mat, where normally the athletes will get frequent injuries.
Sir, many utilized to recent for mat and the speed surface, the utilized to severe injuries, dislocation, many of kabaddi athletes is there.
It's happening only in the mat.
Mat,
yes
sir. For future in offensive player, for insurance, for the for life play for only 5 years.
Okay.
That is for the many hard to train and play for lifelong only possibility for the playing 5 years, the possibility for the offensive player. Because of injury for severe to the kabaddi player, no insurance are there. Only go for next level to appointment. Otherwise, life is very less than.
Okay. You said lower part, lower limbs, they are getting frequent of injuries when compared to upper body.
Yes.
What is the reason?
Because of first one for the nutrition, balance diet, not follow the kabaddi athletes. For many, utilize to mobile phone for the sleeping time very less, to more and more stress and anxiety, depression are more there to play for continuously for local matches. Then you come to proper rest, proper food, proper
Warming up.
warming up is not there. That's why for the many number of players to injury. So
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Respected dignitaries, all the faculties and organizing committees, delegates, dear friends, students, very good afternoon to one and all present here. Really, I am very happy to stand before you in this special occasion, international conference. I am Dr. Bhaskaran from Savita University. My topic is effect of yogasana, stretching exercise and concurrent practices on selected IGA and IGG among information technology sector men. Information technology sector gives more revenue to our country. Their contributions also helps to improve our economic status and several other things of our country. So their healthiness and happiness are also important. Hence, selected yogasana, stretching exercise and concurrent practices for improve immunity and all-round development of IT sector men. Next, please. Adi Yogi, Lord Shiva, is a father of yoga. Next, please. Lord Shiva taught yogic practices to Parvati. First disciple of Lord Shiva, Sri Parvati. Next. According to sage Patanjali, yoga means Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means modification of mind stuff. According to Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that Yogaga Karmasi Kaushalam, which means skill in action. Nam Sayyam Sayalai Tirambada Chaidal Yogam and Gra Sri Krishna. Next, please. Asanas. Asana means Stram Sugam Asanam. ஒரு பொசிஷனில் இருக்கும் போது கம்ஃபர்டபுளாக ஃபீல் பண்ணால் தட் இஸ் கால்டு ஆசனாஸ். அதனுடைய பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் ததோத்வந்த அனாபிகாத அக்கார்டிங் டு சேஜ் பதஞ்சலி ஃபாதர் ஆஃப் யோகா டூரிங் த yogic practices, during the asana practices, it will give immunities and undisturbed to dualities. இம்மை மறுமை இன்பம் துன்பம் இது இந்த தாக்கத்திலிருந்து நாம விடுபடலாம்ங்கிறாரு சேஜ் பதஞ்சலி. நெக்ஸ்ட் ப்ளீஸ். ஸ்ட்ரெச்சிங் எக்ஸசைஸ், இட்ஸ் எ ஃபார்ம் ஆஃப் பிசிக்கல் எக்ஸசைஸ். நெக்ஸ்ட் ப்ளீஸ். கன்கரண்ட் ப்ராக்டிசஸ். Concurrent practices means combination of yogasanas and stretching exercises. Next, please. Selection of the subjects. I selected 60 subjects from IT sector, 45 to HCL Technology, Gindi, and 15 from HCL Technology and Ramco Systems. Yogasanas group 15, stretching exercise group 15, and concurrent practices group 15, and control group 15. Next, please. Independent variables, yogasana, stretching exercise, and concurrent practices. Dependent variables, IG and IGG. Next, please. Experimental trainings, yoga asanas, Ekapadasana, Padahastasana, Trikonasana, Paschimottanasana, Ardha Machendrasana, Sasangasana, Ushtrasana, Sarvangasana, Halasana, Kandarasana, stretching exercises, modified Adler, seated toe test, back line, V-stretch, and gluteal and tongue stretch, cat and camel stretch, plow stretch, neck stretch, front line, and isometric supine bridge. Next, please. IgA. IgA is an antibody found primary in the secretions of exocrine glands. IgA in milk, tears, and gastric juices help to protect against infections. Next, please. IgG. IgG is an antibody found in plasma and body fluids. It is particularly effective against certain bacteria, virus, and various toxins from our body. Next, please. Experimental design. I have selected 60 from HCL Technology and Ramco Systems Limited, 15 for yogasanas, 15 for stretching exercise, and 15 for concurrent practices, 50 for control group, no training for control group. Next, please. Statistical technique, analysis of covariance I have selected for statistical techniques. Next, please. Previous. Table 1 shows that obtained value, pretest value 1.08 was lesser than the table value 2.77. This indicates that random assignment of the subjects were successful. Analysis of post-test proved that 3.03 was greater than the table value 2.77 to be accepted. Taking into consideration of adjusted post-test mean, 46.90 is higher than the 2.77 table value. Significant. Next, please. Computation of Sekis post-op test shows that difference between the 4 groups because confidence interval value is lesser than the mean difference value. Next, please. Discussion of the findings of IgA. IgA measured through biochemical labs. The result presented in table 1 proved that there was a significantly decreased the IgA due to yogasana, stretching exercise, and concurrent practices. Previous research, Raghavendra and et al. 2008 has proven that the yoga and the exercise causes decreased IgA. He concluded that immunoglobulin A level has significantly decreased. Hence, it was obviously proved that experimental training intervention had significant changes on IgA among information technology sector men. Next, please. Bar diagram shows that pre-test blue color and post-test orange color. Pre-test higher than after 12 weeks training decreased IgA. Next, please. Computation of analysis of covariance IgG. Table 2 shows that obtained pre-test value 0.99 was lesser than the table value 2.77. This indicates that random assignment of the subjects were successful. Analysis of post-test 3.03 was greater than the 2.77 to be significant at 0.05 level, and taking into consideration of adjusted post-test 45.32 is greater than the table value 2.77 significant. Next, please. This is a difference between the 3 groups. Next, please. Discussion on the findings IgG. IgG was measured through biochemical lab. The result presented in table 2 proved that there was a significantly improved due to yogasana, stretching exercise, and concurrent practices. Galax et al. 2013 has proven that yoga causes decreased immunoglobulin G level during yoga. Hence, it was obviously proved that yogasana, stretching exercise, and concurrent practices intervention had significant changes on IgG among information technology sector men. Next, please. Bar diagram shows that difference between the pre and post. Next, please. Conclusion. It was concluded that there was significant changes in IgA and IgG due to yogasana, stretching exercise, and concurrent practices to the control compared to the control group. Thank you.
Sir, shall we have questions?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Since there is a lot of professions are there like doctors, engineers and police officers, what is the motive of selecting IT sectors?
Yes, sir. IT sector people gives more revenue to our country. So our economic status is improved. So hence I selected because most is having IT sector peoples. So that's why I selected for IT sector. Means. Sir asked IgA meaning. Immunoglobulin A. IgA means immunoglobulin antibodies. Immunoglobulin G. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Super.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving good opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's our last presentation from Sri Venkateswara University, Chittoor. Okay. Tirupati. Okay.
Good evening, one and all. Respected dignitaries of the stage and the faculty members, fellow research scholars, and the students. Very good evening, and thank you for giving this opportunity. First of all, the organizing committee. So my topic is, next one. Yeah, my topic is the study of fundamental psychological requirements in physical education based on the age, gender, and educational level. So most of the children suffer from psychologically nowadays. So like anxiety, stress, a lack of self-efficacy. So I like choose this title for the further. Next, the concept of firstly the basic psychological needs has been tailored to various aspects of physical activity and as well as the sports. Has been determined which occurs the basic psychological needs regarding physical education at the ages required to attend schools. One of the first things that was done to conduct a general analysis of basic psychological needs to determine the level of satisfaction of the children in the majorly our hometown like Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. And the second one, I was examine BPS according to their educational level, age and gender, understand how they concerning these three aspects and how they develop over time. Next one. Next one. And the design. I was choose for this research. There is 3 designs: transversal, descriptive, and analytical designs for the research. Further getting the results. The transversal design is nothing but collecting data from the population at a single point of time. And the next descriptive design is nothing but it describes population situation. And the next one is analytical design. Analytical design is nothing but the analysis of data between the conclusions. And the participants. We have taken nearly 745 participants from the Tirupati around Andhra Pradesh. And in that, the 312 students from the primary and 33 students from the secondary students. Within that, we have taken 335 boys and 410 girls for my research around the age of 12 years. Next one. Measure. An evaluation of psychological and social factors was carried throughout the basic psychological needs in the exercise scale. There are 3 characteristics we have taken for autonomy. Autonomy means nothing but the ability to make taking own decisions. And the second one is I took competence. Competence is nothing but the ability to do something efficiently. And the third one is relatedness, the state of being related or connected. These are the three characteristics I was taken from these children's with the help of Likert scales. Next one. Procedure. In the first place, the school teachers was taken seek the assistance to carry getting the results from the students. And we have given 25 minutes to the students for taking the results from children's with asking question and answers there. Next one. Statistical analysis. The major part of the research is statistical analysis. I was taken for statistical like Pearson correlation and also the ANOVA. In that, the first component was the group educational stage, which consisted of two levels, primary and the secondary stage. And the next one is, the secondary element was the variable gender, either male and females. These two, gender and male and female, we have taken the results over there for the psychological effects. Next one. And the results. There is an examination of reliability as well as the by weight of correlations. All the investigated dimensions was found to appropriate values as shown by the findings. The next slide in the table 1, we have shown in there. The correlation studies between autonomy and the competence are positively significant correlation as or competent and correlated. A favorable and significant relation between the autonomy and related may also be highlighted. Next slide. So here the table 1, we shown the autonomy, competence and relatedness. The relation between the autonomy and the competences we have shown in the table. There is a mean standard deviation and asymmetry. The K denotes for kurtosis and alpha. AUT denotes for autonomy and the competence related. So the relation between the autonomy and the competence has shown in the table. And the next relation between the competence with the relatedness. Next one. Discussions. The study examines basic psychological needs is related to the students' gender, educational studies, and also age. This innovative and important study examines two educational status, the primary, mainly the primary education, 5th to 6th, and also the secondary education. This is the crucial period because students who quit the physical education in the early stages, they leads to the injuries or they leads to the psychological disorders. So that's why I choose this thesis and psychologically only based on the age, educational level and also gender. Next one. Next one. And the last one is conclusion. According to the study, the established objectives, autonomy, competence and relatedness were accessed with a compulsory educational program in the primary education 5th to 6th and the secondary education. Next one. So these are the references I used for this, my research works. Thank you, sir.
It's a good presentation. And how actually you have conducted this survey or anything from the school students? How you used to interact with them?
So I used to interact with the, I used to go to the schools for taking these results, sir, with the permission of the principal or
in person, for example, are you circulating any of the forms they have to
yes,
fill?
Sir, definitely. We are circulating forms for the schools, sir.
Okay.
After the acceptance, we have to go through, sir.
Yeah, what are the questionnaires? Can you display the questionnaires?
No,
I mean,
sir.
just speak about questionnaires.
I didn't bring the questionnaires
No,
here.
just speak about it.
Just a question is, autonomy is nothing but I like to do exercises every day. Is the question is for the autonomy. And the competence is nothing but I do the exercise every day. Like the questions for the competence, and relatedness is nothing but the relation between the individuals to others and others. Like the questions have taken this.
Okay, have you validated the survey? Is
Yes,
there
sir.
any mechanism?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, how you validate? Validate means, okay, for example, we conduct the examination in a classroom, they are copying from each other. So how you can
With
validate?
the help of Likert scale, sir, we are taken there.
Okay. No, if you have a follow-up survey, probably we can validate the same person. Okay, that's we have a small suggestion in it. Okay. So,
thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Today's session has come to an end. Tomorrow morning we shall meet by 8:30 in the morning. I request all the participants